Good morning, traders. I'm Emily Vani, the CEO of the Investment Banking Institute and your host here at NewsWare's Trade Talk. Joining me is trading anchor Bill Olson, who brings more than 30 years of institutional trading experience to our program. At Trade Talk, we provide the facts, themes, and trading ideas for the day ahead. Today is Friday, October 25th. Today's moves follow another mixed day on Wall Street yesterday. Stocks are trying to make up ground this morning to temper losses for the week. During regular trading, the S&P 500 and the Nasdaq both finished in the green. The S&P 500 picked up 12 points or 0.21%. The Nasdaq advanced 138 points or more than 0.75%. Dragged down by shares of Boeing, the Dow ended in the red, off 144 points or 0.33%. Bill, let's get into Friday's action with what is happening in the markets this morning.
Hi, yes, good morning, Emily. I'm watching the S&Ps. We're up 0.32%. That's positive, over 0.3% in the pre-market. Like to see that. They're positive because corporate earnings. I saw a number of really good reports come out last night and this morning, and Treasury yields are ebbing a little bit, so that's positive for equities. We're seeing gains on Decker's Outdoor, LHX, DLR, the COF, WDC, BAH, and others. Some of the big news announcements was, on that merger deal between Tapestry and Capri, a U.S. judge blocked that pending merger, which is a big win for the FTC. It just shows how difficult the regulatory environment is right now. Microsoft's releasing a new hot-selling video game called Call of Duty. Now, normally you buy the video game, but here they're going to be selling it on a subscription basis. So you got to buy a monthly subscription because the idea is to get people to subscribe to these monthly subscriptions over and over again, which will bring in more revenue than a one-time fee for buying the software. So it kind of makes sense. We'll see how that turns out. But at the end of the day, you look at the stock price, and Microsoft is trading higher by about 0.5% this morning. What do we got? We got durable goods out this morning. Next week's calendar is really active. Next 2 weeks are really active, actually. But taking a look overseas, what we're seeing, the DAX is up, in Germany, the DAX is up 0.04% or 7.5%. The IFO Business Climate Indicator for Germany increased for the first time in 6 months, beating forecasts. That's kind of a positive. Taking a look at London. London's down 14.5 points or 0.18%. UK consumer confidence edged lower by 1 point in October to negative 21, with declines attributed to the tax concerns ahead of some upcoming budget announcements. And then you get the Paris, the CAC, down 19 points or 0.26%. We're looking last night in Asia. We're seeing, some mixed action. I mean, Japan fell 0.6% or 229 points. Remember, they got an election on Sunday, and it's not unusual for markets to fall in front of an election, which was a main, and the main source of concern here is due to the economic implications of a political change. And the markets in Japan still remain on alert for currency intervention by the BOJ, so we got to always keep that in mind. In Hong Kong, markets rose 100 points or 0.49%. Action was really lifted. It was positive by these Chinese markets. China, on the other hand, did increase 0.59% or 19.44 points. Positive action in solar, positive action in pharmaceutical stocks, and they did announce a date for that China's National People's Congress, which is going to be held November 4th through November 8th. So that's interesting. That's good to see. And then we got to keep an eye on oil. Oil is moving higher this morning. You got WTI at $70.74 a barrel, and Brent is at $70 and Brent is at $74.90 a barrel. Listen, the market continues to be monitoring these geopolitical developments in the Middle East. Remember, Secretary of State Anthony Blinken, he's over there right now working on a Gaza ceasefire agreement. Hamas has got to sign it. They're pushing Hamas to sign it. Hamas is kind of hedging their bets to do that. On the other hand, you got that pending Israeli response to the recent Iranian missile attack. So, once that happens, that's going to cause a spike in oil prices. So, Right now we're at $70 a barrel. We'll see $70.74 a barrel for WTI. We'll see if that's able to hold. But that's what I have for you in terms of a morning markets update, Emily.
Bill, in your opening here, you did mention that earnings action is, a market mover today. A number of interesting earnings that came out, some big wins, making some green this morning. So, Bill, what is going on in terms of earnings action?
We got to start off with Decker's Outdoor, ticker DECK, David Edward Charlie Kilo. They beat by 35 cents on higher revenue. It's all about the sales of those Hoka shoes and UGG boots. I mean, they're doing really well. You look at the stock this morning, Decker's is up 13.37%. Then let's talk Western Digital, ticker WDC, William David Charlie. They beat by 7 cents, although it was done on lower revenue. But you look at the stock this morning, and it's up 13.24%. Capital One, ticker COF, Charlie Oscar Frank, they beat by 75 cents on higher revenue. But that stock's up 3.22%. And then this morning we had Booz Allen, which delivered a beat of 32 cents. That's ticker BAH, Boy Apple Henry. They did that on higher revenue. You look at that stock, it's up 12.88% this morning. So wow, nice one for Booz Allen. Upcoming, Bank of Hawaii's coming out Monday morning. EPS is 81 cents. Expected move is 8.78%. On Semiconductors also coming out. Their EPS, that's ticker ON, Oscar Nancy. Their EPS is 97 cents. Expected move is 10.15%. But that's what I have for you in terms of earnings action, Emily.
Bill, you did mention Booz Allen there, and that was your pick of the day yesterday. So by the end of the show, we will check in on that, but looks like some good news there. Let's get to some other details on the day, including economic events. Bill, what is going on in terms of the day's economic events?
8:30 a.m., we get the durable goods orders, expected to come in at negative 0.1%. 10 a.m., you get the University of Michigan consumer sentiment figure. 1 p.m., you get the Baker Hughes rig count figures. And at 11 a.m. this morning, we're going to hear from Boston Fed Bank President Susan Collins. But as I said, next week, it's the next 2 weeks, really, really heavy in terms of economic events. I mean, next week, we got the JOLTS report, we got the ADP employment report, we got the GDP figures, the PCE, the jobless claims, and of course, the non-farm payrolls report, all next week. And then the following week, you've got the election, and then you got that China meeting going on, and plus there's a Fed meeting. So, the next 2 weeks are going to be heavy, focus on economics. So we got to keep in mind on that and keep these in the back of your mind over the next, 14 days or so, Emily.
And Bill, to be able to watch what's happening now, but also sort of anticipate what is going to be driving the markets, you're using NewsWare, keeping track of all of those earnings releases. You're also keeping track of all those earnings events, as you mentioned, not only the ones that are happening now, but ones that you're looking ahead to. And you're still keeping track of more market moving information. You're watching things like merger news, guidance news, shareholders meetings. You're grouping stocks together like your FANG stocks and your Dow 30 stocks. So, Bill, what else do you see is possibly moving the markets today?
Doing a quick data check. I'm looking at my Dow stocks. They got 4 lower, 23 higher. That's nice. That's positive. And then you get your FANG stocks. I'm seeing some weakness in Apple and seeing some weakness in Tesla. The weakness in Tesla doesn't surprise me. It had its best day ever yesterday. So for the most part, I'd say we are going to be having a good, strong opening this morning. You look at some of the news out there like Apple. Apple is back among the top 5 in China smartphones market. That's positive. Google, Missouri's Republican Attorney General said yesterday that he's launching an investigation into Google over allegations that it was censoring conservative speech. Knock it off. Then there's Tesla. Listen, Tesla's down this morning. It's down 1.37%. In the pre-market. The shares jumped 22% yesterday, which was the biggest one-day gain in over 10 years. So, not too concerned there. In terms of Dow Jones 30 stocks, it's Microsoft. That video game Call of Duty is a hot seller. It's going to be available today. It's going to be on a subscription basis. This is going to be a testament to that $75 billion buyout bid that they gave for Activision. Boeing, hey, those union members continue to be on strike. Everybody's starting to get concerned because Their ask is an unlikely goal. They want them to reinstate pension plans. If they do that, that company will go bankrupt. They can't do it. The pension fund is already undervalued. So, don't expect them to meet that demand. They can't do it in good faith. The union members you need to realize this. Apple, the IDC says China's smartphone shipments grew 3.2% year over year. That's positive, but it's a new iPhone with some AI, enablements in it. And there's going to be an Apple release next week about more. They're going to be talking more about what you can do with the new Apple AI smartphone. We're talking merger news, ESI, Edward Sam. We're talking merger news. We're talking DirecTV and Dish Network, that tie up. It's stuck in a $10 billion debt standoff. Remember, there's a lot of debt on this deal that nobody really wants to take responsibility for. Then we got Capri. Capri stock has fallen this morning, as the judge blocks that merger with Tapestry. Save, ticker SAVE, Sam Apple, Victor Edwards, at Spirit Airlines. Listen, there is talk that Frontier Airlines maybe is looking to reconsider, and make an offer to buy this company. But Spirit Airlines is in a death spiral right now, and they're trying to avoid bankruptcy. They came out and they announced in an SEC filing that they're going to be selling 23 of their aircrafts, to gain about $519 million to keep the place afloat. In terms of guidance news, Skechers, they released last night, SKX, Sam Kilo X-ray. They see Q4 EPS coming in 70 to 75 cents. Street estimate 76 cents, a little bit of a downtick. Mohawk Industries, ticker MHK, they also released last night. They see Q4 EPS $1.77 to $1.87, except the street estimate said is at $2.24. That's a big downtick. Not good for MHK. Deckers Outdoors, ticker DECK. They gave full year 2025 EPS at $5.15 to $5.25. Street estimate had it at $5.35, but the stock is taken higher on this big beat that they came out with last night. So that's positive. In terms of shareholders meetings, RVMD, Richard Victor, Michael David, this is Revolution Medicines. They're having an investor webcast meeting today. And that's all I have for you in terms of news hitting the tape this morning, Emily.
This is the type of data that NewsWare delivers daily. It's factual, it's market moving, and our alerting functions bring it to your attention as it happens. Go to www.newsware.com now and sign up for the trial and see for yourself the benefits that professional Newswire delivers. It is now that time of the show for the Trade Talk pick of the day. Bill, what do you have for us to end this week?
I'm going to go with ON Semiconductor, ticker ON, Oscar Nancy. Earnings are out Monday morning. EPS is 97 cents. Expected move is 10.15%. Looking at yesterday's call volume, 8,848 calls versus 7,668 puts. Open interest, 97,784 versus 136,077. Still going to go with it. Major brokers are raising price targets. Citibank didn't, but the rest of them are. So I'm okay there. They did deliver a good report, and the stock popped on last quarter's earnings announcement. But I gotta, be careful here. I'm thinking $69.50 to $70 is my entry price. I'm gonna probably have to wait for it. But that's my entry price, $69.50 to $70, kind of a wide range. But that's my pick of the day on semiconductors, ticker ON, Oscar Nancy, Emily.
We will follow on semiconductor along with you. Again, putting some of those pieces of the puzzle together in order to make this pick, which is exactly what you did yesterday. And coming up, as I promised, we will do a recap on that pick of the day. So stick with us. But ahead of that, let's take a look at the current breaking headlines that have hit the tape in our hot off the press segment. Bill, sending it back to you.
Okay, what was here? Purple Biotech presents data for tri-specific antibody platforms, CAPN3. Colgate, ticker CL, Colgate Palmolive CEO says Q3 results exceeded expectations. Eli Lilly, LLY, Larry Yellow, Eli Lilly presents new data at an FCD conference. B, the Barnes Group suspends financial guidance for 2024. Oh, that's not good. But they do have that pending acquisition by Apollo Funds. Volkswagen Scouts, is going to do an unveiling event. Keep an eye on shares of Rivian. It could be affected. RIVN. Spirit Airlines sees Q3 capacity down 1.2% year over year. Not good. Toy sales remain positive on the strength of Lego systems or Legos. ticker YUM. They own Taco Bell. Taco Bell pulls its onions due to that E. coli scare at McDonald's. United and Delta pull ahead of competition as international travel rebounds. Other U.S. fast food chains are temporarily scrubbing fresh onions off of their menus. Basically because it's hard to kind of detect E. coli on fruits and vegetables. It's a bigger problem than beef. Barclays won its bid to more than half the shareholders' lawsuit worth up to £560 million for allegedly misleading the market about its private dark pool trading platform. Italy's regulators opened up an investigation into Otis Worldwide, OTIS. They're suspected of having installed on elevators devices that offer services for a fee without explicit consent from customers. And Apple got a downgrade this morning. It's a rare that they have it, but it did get one this morning. Minor broker, not a tier one broker. And that's all I have for you this morning.
Okay, Bill, before we sign off for the weekend, get to trading on this Friday. Let's do that check-in on yesterday's pick of the day. We pointed out early in the show was Booz Allen. You did give us a look at the stock during your earnings rundown. The company did report a Q2 EPS of $1.81, blowing past the analyst estimates by 32 cents. And those estimates were about $1.49. Revenue for the quarter came in at $3.15 billion versus the consensus of $2.97 billion. In terms of guidance, there's also that note on their guidance news, a bump there. And they see a full year 2025 EPS of $6.10, $6.30 versus the consensus of $5.99. You did point out, Bill, that the stock is up pretty big this morning. We may have given it away, but how did the call work out?
Worked out great. I mean, listen, the stock opened up at 160. Booz Allen, ticker BAH. Stock opened up at $163.56. Fell down to 162.99. I said under 163. I was like 162.90, but under 163. It fell down to 162.99, and then it took off and hit a high of 167.09. Listen, the shares closed out at 166.55, but you look at this morning, the stock already hit a high of $190. I mean, it's right now it's trading at 184.65. It's up over 10%. So Booz Allen, ticker BAH, was a winner yesterday and this morning. Very happy with the results, Emily.
A big win there, Bill, and we will check with you Monday about today's on semiconductor pick of the day. Bill, thank you as always for your expert insight. Join us back here Monday and each weekday morning next week at NewsWare's Trade Talk when we provide the facts, themes, and trading ideas for the day ahead. Again, I'm your host, Emily Vani, here with trading anchor Bill Olson. Traders, you know what to do. Let's go out there and make some green.